The air was thick with the scent of burning rubber and the clamor of desperate shouts. Outside the crumbling walls of San Pietro Infine, an Italian village frozen in the grip of war, chaos erupted as Allied troops clashed with entrenched German forces on the foothills of the formidable Aurunci Mountains. At that moment, a young American sergeant named Michael Turner barely had time to take a breath. He had landed on Italian soil not too long ago, yet the intensity of battle felt all too familiar, as though each explosion reverberated through his very bones. It was December 1943, a cold, biting winter dawn just before the sun had fully graced the valley with its light. The U.S. 36th Infantry Division was charged with taking San Pietro, an objective that had become increasingly vital for the Allies in their attempt to push northward. Turner, huddling in the mud alongside his men, had arrived with dreams of glory, but was gradually confronting the visceral reality of battle, the screams of his fellow soldiers, the acrid smoke stinging his eyes, and the sudden heartbreaking silence that followed when a life was extinguished. San Pietro Infine was no ordinary village. It possessed a strategic position that offered the Germans a vantage point from which they could rain down fire on any advance. The Allies had struggled relentlessly to secure even a foothold, facing ferocious resistance that seemed as endless as the mountains towering above. The higher command insisted the attack must succeed. Too much was at stake. Turner had heard enough grumbling amongst the ranks. The tension simmered into moments of doubt. "What if we can't do it?" whispered a private named Harris as they crouched behind a barricade. "What if this is just another textbook disaster?" As the dawn broke, the air crackled with the tension of impending conflict. Turner shook his head but didn't respond, keeping his thoughts to himself. He couldn't afford to wallow in fear. A soldier had to be both steely and human, but with every tick of the clock, with each passing minute, the enormity of what lay ahead bore down on him, a crushing weight threatening to crush his resolve. Each man had their reasons for fighting, but amidst the clatter of rifles and muffled cries, Turner's thoughts flickered back home to a small apartment in Brooklyn, where his mother awaited a letter, believing steadfastly in his bravery. With a sudden roar, German artillery lit up the morning sky like fireworks gone rogue. Turner instinctively ducked, heart pounding in his chest as explosions lit up the dusty streets. "Advance, move," barked his lieutenant. This wasn't just about hometown pride. This was about survival, about pushing through an enemy intent on staving off the inevitable tide of Allied liberation. Turner steeled himself, following his comrades as they sprang into action. Time found a unique way of expanding in battle, moments elongating until fear and adrenaline entwined in a dreadful ballet. The sound of gunfire became a symphony of terror, punctuated by the chilling cries of the wounded. As they charged through the village, Turner felt a deep sense of foreboding infiltrating his nerves. He managed to catch sight of the checkered roofs and dusty lanes that hinted at a life once lived there. Could anything remain of joy amidst the devastation? Behind him, a booming explosion sent rubble and dirt crashing down, throwing him off balance for a moment's eternity. The village was becoming a graveyard, with echoes of life littered among the shells of homes. Glancing over his shoulder, he spotted Harris, eyes wild and wide, crumpling to the ground, hit in the chaos. In an instant, fear and terror morphed into determination. He had to get to his friend, had to try. Pushing through the swirling smoke and ricocheting bullets, Turner fought against the tide of despair clawing at him. "Harris, hang on," he shouted, though he wasn't sure if his voice could reach through the cacophony. His heart raced as he edged closer to the fallen man. That's when the true brutality of the situation struck. Just above them, a sniper shot rang out. Turner dove to the ground, every instinct yelling to escape, to survive. Bullets tore through the earth by inches. It took every ounce of his will to crawl forward. When he reached Harris, the young private had taken a bullet to the gut. Blood pooled beneath him, dark and viscous. Turner pressed his hands onto the wound, trying desperately to staunch the flow, but the life seeped away as fear seized his throat. "Stay with me, buddy," he pleaded softly, his voice trembling. But the light in Harris's eyes was fading, replaced by a glassy sheen. "Tell my mom," were Harris's last words before his body grew limp under Turner's hands, leaving nothing but a haunting silence as the world spun beyond him. Gone, just like that. The sorrow was staggering, a brutal reminder of what this beautiful country had become. His grief wrestled with the pressing urgency to escape, to protect himself and continue the fight. Swallowing the lump in his throat, he felt the icy grip of duty take hold once more. Reinforcements. The shout rang out, cutting through the chaos. A wave of new soldiers arrived, their faces young, filled with a raw mixture of hope and trepidation. It was a sight that encouraged Turner to push forward, driven by the belief that sacrifice and perseverance meant something greater than one loss. The fighting intensified, each side clawing for dominance, the air thick with the moist scent of earth kicked up by grenade blasts and a sticky haze that hung heavy from the smoke of flame-tortured buildings. As they advanced further into the village, Turner and his remaining men pushed against the formidable German defense, which felt as unyielding as the mountains looming behind them. Grenades exploded, shattering the air with their mighty roar. Bullets zipped eerily close, and die-hard villagers peered through cracks in walls, horror-stricken at the destruction of their homes and hopes. Yet, beneath the terror, sometimes a flicker of gratitude emerged, a recognition that there were those willing to fight for a free world. On the third day of fighting, the determination of the Americans bore fruit. A final push, an audacious maneuver that pitted sheer will against steel-plated defenses. "We can take the ridge," shouted Lieutenant Moore, his voice hoarse but rich with steadfast belief. "Onward, men, it's time to show them who we are." The rallying cry stirred something deep within Turner. Warding off the specter of despair, it urged him on like sunshine piercing through a storm. Triangles of enemy fire rained down as they grappled toward the ridge. Turner found himself swept up in the tide, adrenaline coursing through his veins like molten iron. As rounds flew past him and explosions blossomed into geysers of dirt, every instinct urged him to flee, yet he pushed forward, spurred by the weight of lives lost, of comrades fallen. In a sickening twist, as they neared the crest, he felt the impact before he heard the shot, a searing pain lancing through his side. A bullet had found him, stripping the breath from lungs as darkness spilled into the edges of his vision. He fell, hitting the cold ground. The world became an echo, muted under the curtain of pain. Through the haze, Doctor's arms lifted him, a familiar face amidst the chaos. Sergeant Mitchell, a field medic known for his remarkable skill and resolute spirit. "Stay with me, Turner," he murmured, hands moving expertly over the wound, rallying the strength that was so rapidly fading. "You're gonna be okay. We're almost through this." For Michael Turner, the moments that followed stretched out with agonizing slowness. Shouts blended with the soft murmurs of distant voices. It was as if time had suspended itself, a womb of suspended animation. Survival hung by a whisper as Mitchell stitched him up with fervor, every movement immediate and precise. Pain coursed through each stitch, yet amidst the agony, Turner recognized a newfound light. It was hope. They were winning. As the last hues of sunlight painted the fallen village, the German hold finally began to falter. They slipped, retreated, a song sung by the echoes of emboldened men, souls rising against tyranny. With every inch gained, Turner felt the collective weight of his battalion, their dreams, fears, losses, and triumph intertwined. He might very well perish here, but if it meant preserving the value of freedom, every bit of suffering would be worth it. It wasn't until morning broke anew that the remnants of the 36th would stand triumphantly atop the ridge, breathless yet resolute. Against all odds, they had taken San Pietro Infine, the village that was demolished yet couldn't completely obliterate the spirit of those who fought for something greater than themselves. The taste of victory mingled painfully with the awareness of loss, hearts heavy for comrades who could no longer fight alongside them, faces forever etched in their memories. In the months to come, as the Allied forces continued to push through Italy, the sacrifices made during those harrowing days would never fade. They had claimed San Pietro and opened a path through the Italian campaign, but every inch of ground was soaked with the reminder of their toll. Turner would carry scars, physical and emotional, woven into a fabric of courage that demanded never to forget. The fight held more than a promise of freedom. It held stories, lives, and legacies to safeguard against history's darkness. In the years that followed, he would find his way back to Brooklyn, to a small apartment where a mother awaited the return of her son. The letters that traveled across the ocean could only tell so much, but the tales born from experiences shared with fallen friends resonated in every breath he took. San Pietro Infine would forever remain etched in his heart, a constant reminder of the bravery shared, the fears faced and sacrifices made in a war that spanned the world, and through it all the unwavering fight for light in the darkest of times.